Hey guys, and how's it going? Maniac Mower here. This is kind of a video filmed after this. I had an intro, a beginning for this video before the video is actually being filmed, but I'm redoing it because plan changed. Originally, the video was just going to be on the round fender, doing some work on it after the oil has started leaking and working on that. Instead of working on the round fender like I planned, we ended up working on the 212, and then from the 212 we went to the 73. I'm not going to tell you guys what all happened. I'm going to leave it, well, it might be the title of the video, it might not, but we'll see. So, with that being said, I don't think there's anything else I need to tell you. Let's go on ahead and we will get into the video, and here we go. Hey guys, and how's it going? For those of you who are new to the channel, this is my 1967 John Deere 112 round fender. Recently, for those of you who have been watching here for a while, we recently did a color swap into this tractor. We pulled this engine out of a John Deere 110. It was a 68 model. It was built to be a pulling tractor, and it sat. Something was wrong with the tractor. I can't remember what. I know it was missing the drive belt. Oh, and it had a weird looking pulley on it. So we pulled the motor out of it, my buddy, master mechanic Mike and I we dropped the motor, or I dropped the motor into this tractor. I got it running and I dropped it in here. And from there, it's been a really good runner. The problem with it is it's been flooding, and I recently uploaded a video on it where we took the fuel pump off of it. We tried to see if we could solve the flooding issue, which we did. And I also talked about a future project idea on swapping this engine out for another engine and putting this in a 200. I'm still thinking about that. It is in the works. I haven't started on it yet, but if I do end up starting on that, I have the perfect tractor in mind to put it in. So that's a plan still. I do have another one of those Kohler engines, one of these right here, up in the other room. We got to try and get running again. I still haven't messed with it yet. It's still sitting there. And I have another one that is missing. I need to put a head gasket on it. Once I put a head gasket on it, we should be able to get it going. There was a yellow generator sitting in there. I found out that yellow generator, along with that black generator that's over here, wherever I put it, over there, spin the wrong way. They are actually meant, like I thought, they are actually meant to go to a pulley back here, and they spin from the back. They don't spin from the flywheel. I don't know why, but that's how some engines were. And I tried running it reverse. I used positive ground and negative energy in, and it didn't spin the rotate, and it didn't change the rotation of the motor, which I didn't think it would, because generators are supposed to spin the same way either way you go. I just wanted to try it and see if that hypothesis was right. So I tested it for myself to find out, and I found out I was right. So let's go on ahead. I'm not sure whether I want to pull this engine out of here and look at it, or if I just want to leave it in there. There's going to be a few things that's going to have to come off to get to it if we leave it in there. So it may end up coming out depending on what the damage is. I think what happened was when I pulled that fuel pump off of here, I do remember it leaking. And I think when I put this plug in here, it might still be getting, yeah, it seems kind of wet. It might be getting past this plug still, so probably if I put another gasket in there, it'll do it. But I'm not sure. One thing I noticed that really set me off is oil is getting up onto the front of this shroud. As you guys can see, this is kind of oily. It's getting onto this shroud somehow, and I still haven't figured it out, because this isn't oily at all. This is, and this is, so I'm not sure. And I noticed a little bit was getting onto the muffler as well. So I have reason to believe it could possibly be our front seals going out, and that could be the cause of it. That's how much oil it's leaked overnight. That was a clean stainless steel pan. So this is what we've got right now. It also is getting up on top of there, so I'm not quite sure what the deal is, what's going on with it. I think what's happening is I think the flywheel seal decided it wanted to go out, and when the engine runs is when it does this. When the engine runs and it gets up to compression inside the block, I think it's pushing it out the crank seal, and it's filling up in here. And when it fills up to a certain height, I think the flywheel, the teeth on it or the fins are spinning around, and as they're spinning, they're shooting oil up and out. I just saw more drip in there. It's shooting up and over somehow, out these holes or through here or somewhere around there. I don't notice any smoke when it's running, so it's really throwing me off. If I was to take this out right now and drive it up and down the driveway, if I was to come back, I'm sure there'd be oil on the front. Let me check the oil in here real quick and see how much oil it has in it. We might take it up and down the driveway just to see what we get out of that. I checked the oil and I overfilled it, I guess, last time I put oil in it, so it's still a little bit over full, so it's not leaking too much. I do want to check that gasket though, like I was talking about, just to see if that could possibly be our problem. So I'm thinking about that. We might do that first. If that don't solve it, then we'll take a look and we'll pull this off, because I see oil here. There's oil there. It's getting around somehow. Everything is coated in oil. So we may end up bringing the pressure washer over here and hosing it. See, this is all covered in oil. Oh, that's got some gas in it too. I think my carb might be leaking. Which I figured it would. What do I want to do? Where do I want to go from here? Let me go on ahead, and I think we'll take a look at this first and just eliminate that and see if that's our problem. If that's the problem and I don't have to mess with it any further, that'll save me in the end. So let me do that here quick, because it never leaked until when I pulled that fuel pump off. So I guess that could be it. So like I said, I don't have an idea on what it could be. I think that could be it though, so let me do that here fast. For those of you who are new, I recently acquired this John Deere 212 along with you guys who have been watching on this 212. As you can see, there's a flywheel shroud sitting on top of it. You're probably wondering what that's about. I recently pulled the top shroud off on this engine, and I'll show you guys the one that I'm talking about. This shroud right here, I recently pulled it off. You can see I still haven't hooked the spark plug back up. It claims to be a 16 horse, as you can see that right there. I think you guys can see the tag. It claims to be a 16 horse. I pulled this top cover off here and I looked at it. 16 horse Kohlers have 10 head bolts. For those of you who are wondering, they'll have 10 head bolts. 10, 12, and 14 horse Kohlers will have 9 head bolts. So I looked at it and it has 9 head bolts. So my suspicion is it's a 12 horse Kohler, that somebody must have lost the shroud to it, or somebody either lost the shroud or they must have just got a new one because the old one rotted out or something like that. So I ran that. It's a 12 horse. Maybe later on in the video we can pull the PTO off and also the pulley and see what the casting number in the block is, because there is a casting number in the block. I have not looked at that yet, but I'm sure it might be a 12. I'm sure it's 12, but the suspicion ran over my mind it might be a 14 horse, so, or 10. So we'll have to take a look at that. This shroud right here, this is off of a 212. It says 12 horse K301. This is the shroud off of the 212, the one that I painted. I didn't end up painting that whole tractor, but this shroud I did paint, so it needs to be rusted down a little bit before I'll put it on here. But maybe later on in the video, we'll end up taking a look at that and seeing what the casting number in the block is. It might be a 14 horse, it might be a 12 horse, it might be a 10. It runs like a 12. It runs about like the 73 does, so, except not as powerful. So let's go on ahead and we'll dig into the round fender. I'll put you guys in the stand and we will get into it. For those of you wondering what the noise is in the background, that is a microwave. That's my breakfast. I didn't eat this morning, so I'm gonna eat now. Let's see. Maybe, no, I need a bigger screwdriver. Let me see if I have one. I can't find the one that I'm looking for. The one that I'm looking for has a wrench in it, but I did find this one, so let's see if this one will fit. Oh, well. Yeah, that seemed kind of loose, if you ask me. These might actually need tightened. Oh, that's full of gas. Oh, those seem kind of loose, actually. What's this? Let me tighten them tighter. They didn't seem too tight. That might be all that's wrong. Unless... this has gas in it, so I want to get that out of there for sure. Let's see. I don't think that this is the problem, but I do want to at least check. Do that, now it won't move. I think it's the next thing on here we need to do is brakes, because they would have come in handy the other day. Let's see. There. Let's try that. Blow it out. Get in there. thing I forgot to do was start it and make sure it didn't leak. So let me do that real quick. Make sure it doesn't. Doesn't appear to be leaking. Yeah, I think brakes are next. It don't seem to be getting any worse, so let's go on ahead and I'll take it up the driveway. We'll bring it back and see how bad it is. Oh, the battery needs to be changed. Hold on. Just to show you guys it's not leaking. You can see it right there. It looks like it's starting to get a little bit less now, which is good. Let's take it for a drive. I don't want to cut this just in case if it does it again, so I can show you guys. So I'm not going to cut this. Ready? See any oil on it, so, and it don't appear to be leaking any worse. So it's still got a little bit down there, but it's not as bad as it was yesterday. It was pouring. Anything on the front shroud? Still seems about the same. Let me take it out a little bit more and ride it around, and we'll see if we can get it any worse. Close. So apparently I didn't hit the record button. I thought that I was recording when I was coming in the barn, so that's my bad. I'm looking at it again, and I see oil down here on the frame. So I'm thinking my seal might be bad. That's probably what the problem is. So this motor is most likely going to end up coming out. That's probably how I'm going to look at it. Is I'm going to end up pulling the engine out and taking a look at it to see what the deal is. I'm thinking the seal could be bad, but well, we do have another engine. I do want to get the other engine running first before I end up getting into this and deciding which engine I want to use, but I think that seal's no good, so that engine's going to have to probably come out. It doesn't really have to come out, but I'm probably going to end up pulling it out of there anyways, because it's a lot easier to have it out of the tractor than it is to have it in the tractor and have to fight with the hood supports to get the shroud off there and get in there. And the big problem I have with it is these 4 screws are rusted into the flywheel, so that screen is not going to come out without a fight. That's the big problem right there. If I can get that screen out of there, then that'll be easy. So I think that's where we're at right now on this project. So I'm going to let that cool off, and then I'll end up coming back and we'll take a look at it. Now, it is also possible that I did overfill the oil, so it could just be extra oil coming out, but I didn't see it coming out the breather earlier, and I did look, so I don't think that's the case. So let me go on ahead and I'll let this engine set for a while and cool down, then we'll get into it and take a look. I think while we're waiting on that round fender to cool off, we'll take a look at this 212 and see what we can find out.
I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law, hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night, try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
The tractor has a carburetor for a 16 horse, so if this ends up being a 12, that would explain why it runs so rich, and it'd explain why it seems like it gets too much gas. Because I sat there and I always wondered that, because it never ran right. It always struggled at full throttle, but at idle it would run absolutely perfect. So, like I said, if it has the wrong carburetor on it, that would explain it. I put a 16 horse carb on it, because originally I thought it was a 16 horse and I was told it was a 16 horse, so I put a 16 horse carburetor on it, and it ran absolutely fine with the carburetor. It just struggles at throttling it up, but other than that I never had too many issues with it, so I just kind of left it alone. But now I do want to take a look at it and see what the deal is with that carburetor. So let's find out what this engine is. If it turns out to be a 14 horse, then it needs that's the correct carburetor for a 14 horse. So we'll just have to try and adjust it right. So let me get over there and we'll take a look at it. Okay, let's go on ahead and we will pull this bolt out of here. Perfect. Okay, let's pop this belt. Doing this one-handed. There is no K. I see it. 321. You guys see that? It is a 321. So it's this is a 14 horse. Get a good look at it. Let's see. Let me get something I can get in there and clean that up with, because I can't really tell. I don't think it's, so it's got a 14 horse. Well, that's cool. Never had a 214 before. So I guess we technically have a 214 now. 3, 2, 4. Wait a minute. 3, 2, 1. What's this 2? There's a 2 over here. What is that? 321. K321 2. What's the 2? I've never seen that before. Well, okay, that's cool. I do want to put manual PTO on this tractor, so not quite sure if I want to do that or not yet. What way did this come off here? I gotta watch the video again. I think it was this way on. Let me get a picture of that so I know. So it has the right carburetor on it, so that's good. And I will be right back. I think what I'm going to go on ahead and do off camera, that seal actually looks okay, is I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to cut it. Then I'm going to put this all back together. I got to look and see how that pulley went on there. And once I do that, I will bring you guys back. You know, I'm wondering, along with a lot of you, I wonder how this tractor would do mowing. Maybe we'll do that in the next video. I put everything back on there. I'm going to drive it around a little bit to make sure I did it right. So I'll be right back. about as good as we're gonna get it. Video wasn't intended to be on the 212, but I guess that's what it's going to be. So, grab my cutters. I'd cut it, but the cutter on these is in the inside, so you just kind of gotta rip at them. Those didn't hold on very well, did they? Not the proper way to do it, but at the same time, I made that grill, so I don't plan on keeping it, but I made it, so I'm not really losing anything if I beat it up. Which I'm not trying to, but it's a pain to get out of there. This air filter that I made actually doesn't do too bad. Whoa, we're missing a screw. Maybe that fell out. You guys see that, right? Choke's closed. I wonder why that is. Let me grab my Allen wrenches and we'll get that off there. Okay, I grabbed my screwdriver and my Allen wrenches are sitting right there. Let's pop this off. I almost wonder if I have another one of these. Another 100 series one laying around I could put on here. Air cleaner assembly. Just temporarily. This I don't have a lid for. If I had a lid for it, I'd have it on there. Wow, first one. Pop this off here. I think I'm going to leave that 16 horse shroud on there. I don't think I'm going to take that off just yet. Let's see, ready? Okay, so let's start it up and we will adjust the carb. Let me open the door. You guys ready? Hope so. Let me go over here. Try that. I'm gonna pop that jet out. I just want to see. Okay everybody, I figured since I already had a video on the 212 and the round fender, I'd go on ahead and bring the 73 into it. I don't really make videos on this tractor, so it can have its own. It can have a part. I did an oil change on it the other day like I was talking about. It's actually the next day. I really haven't had much ambition lately, so I've kind of been doing things every other day, so bear with me on that. It's been kind of hot out. Once it starts cooling down out, I'll probably be out here a little bit more. I don't quite like being out here when it's 90 degrees, and I don't quite like being out here when it's below 30 or even below 50 for that matter. So plan is, I have never had good luck with starters on this engine. Every starter I have put on it either takes a crap or blows. This one that's on it right now, ever since it was brand new, it'd sit there and grind. And you had to, when I had the mower deck on it, you'd have to engage the PTO, spin it around to get the gears off the flywheel. And if you were lucky, then it would actually spin over the engine. Now I've looked at the engine and it doesn't have busted off teeth. The teeth on that flywheel are good. Just, I don't know what the deal is with these cheap starters. The starter on there I bought brand new, and last time I had the engine pulled out of that, I put that starter on it. And ever since I have put that starter, I've had better luck with wrenches than I have that starter. You have to sit there. I've even started it up with the PTO just to get around that. So when I bought the 212, as you guys remember, I think it came with the 212, an extra starter. It was off of a 300 that my buddy used to have. I know it's on his YouTube channel, battery lights flashing, but it's off of a 300. He replaced it for another one because this one, the starter gear seized up and I had to fix it. Once I fixed it, I brought it out here and I tested it, and it tested great. And I threw it on another engine block I had and spun it over for a little while, and it did pretty good. So I think that starter is going to go on here next. The 216 and the 212 both have the original starters on them that I'm sure they came with from the factory, and they do really good. And I think that's what this had on it before I bought it, and then somebody changed it along the line, and ever since then I've been stuck with cheap junk starters. This one on the 68 I think came off of the, what did that one come off of? I think that starter came off of the 210 that I bought a long time ago. I've had for a little while. I don't think it's in the videos. I bought it, I think, before I started the YouTube channel. You might see it in the background of a few videos, but I'll have to go back and see if I can find it. But it came off of that, and that starter's worked. So I threw it on there, and it hasn't given me any issues ever since. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to put another battery in the camera, and then I'm going to pull the hood off of this, and we're going to pull that motor out again. And we're going to see if we can, I want to replace that starter. I don't really want to pull the whole thing apart to get to the starter. I can't get to it how it is, and I'll show you that here in a second after I put a new battery in the camera. There is no room to get to it, and I'll show you that right now. Show you guys what I'm talking about. There is no room in here. As you can see, right there's the starter. It's a lot more cramped in there than it looks. You could probably get up under there, but the style of engine I have, mine sits on the mount, where the one on the 200 series, I can show you that. This 212 has a newer engine. They did make them like that. Ow. Give me a second. This one here on my 212, this is a newer style. As you can see, this one's a little bit easier to get to. This is a two-piece engine mount. The 73 has a one-piece engine mount. So the engine in the 73 is a lot easier to pull out, but this one's probably a lot easier to get to. You can see the bolts in the video. There's a lot less room in there than it looks, as you can see, but That one might be easier to get. I'm not going to pull that one because that one works. So let's go on ahead. I will get you guys set up and we will get this thing pulled. Here is the new starter. You can tell it's an original by that sticker. And there was another point on here, right here, American Bosch. So, let's go on ahead and we'll get that starter swapped, and then we should be good to go. No more China starters. Okay, everybody, I've got that mounted in there. Let's go on ahead and test it. I haven't put the fuel tank back in it yet, I really wish this tractor would have been a 140, or at least set up like a 140 instead of how it is, because if the starter was off to the side, it'd be so much easier to get to. Ready? Cool, works. Let's try it again just for good measure. Ready? Cool. Okay, so what do we want to do from here? Let me go on ahead and I'll drop the gas tank in it, and then I'll do everything else I need to do on it. I need to hook the coil back up along with put the gas tank in. Everything else is hooked up. One more test, just for good measure. I agree. Oh, I need to tighten that down. Okay. So all that's good. Let me go on ahead and I'll do the final finishing touches, and then I will be back. Okay, I'm so confident now that I'm ready to put gas in it and see if it'll work. So let me put some gas in it here quick. It isn't backfiring like it used to. When I say backfiring, I mean it's not kicking back like it was, where the starter wouldn't engage until you had to sit there and mess with it for it to finally go. And it was a real pain in the ass to do when it's down in there. I had to spin the mower deck to try and get it to go. Every time I went to start it, I'd have to do that because it would never engage. So you can imagine I got tired of it. And the nice thing about these other starters is they're basically the exact same, all except for on the back of the plate, instead of being open like that and letting it fall out, they have a rubber sleeve that's melted over that, so it doesn't let the thing go out. That's the thing I like about that. I'd put one of them gears on these new motors, but these new motors too just are not very good, aren't as good. They're good, but just not as good. They don't hold up like the old ones did. Like the old ones do. That's a 30-something-year-old. Actually, even, I think it's 40. I think it's 40-something years old, because the 300 it was off of was a 70-something. I think it was a 75, maybe a 76. So, yeah. It was pretty old. Get these all off of here so I can set and try to start this guy. It has actually been a little over a month since this tractor has been started because of that starter. I just really haven't messed with it because that starter hasn't been working, and I've been able to get away with using the 216 instead. I think I'm going to put the grill back on it and all the tins, just because I think it's going to hold up fine. So let me go on ahead. Once I get this hood put back on it, then we'll put the PTO side cover back on it. I have a lot of faith in this whole thing, this old girl. She's a good little girl, good tractor. The only thing that I've ever had a problem with on it is starters. Let me open the door. Ready? Like I said, it's been over a month. Actually, it's been about a month since I've ran this tractor, so it might be interesting. Ready? It feels good not to have to get off and spin a mower deck. Okay, why aren't you pulling? There it is. with this one. It likes to, you gotta mess with it for it to pull gas. I just want to do a quick check to be sure that everything under here is hooked up. Okay, ready? Looks like it's starting to fill up. Remember, yeah, it's got a slow pump to it. Give it a little bit to get to where it needs. I might need to check it for spark. That might. Well, I started looking at it and I found out I never hooked this connector back up right here. I thought I connected it already, so let's try it again and see if it starts. Ready? There we go. Let me put the points cover back on it, and then we'll take it out and drive it. I'll be honest with you guys, I forgot how well that thing ran. It don't miss or nothing. It does a really good job. I gotta take it around and drive it a little bit more. Maybe we'll throw the mower deck on it and try it out. Let me take it around a little bit and just kind of let it run for a while. It ain't ran in about a month. I think I need to adjust the idle a little bit. Okay, I'll bring you guys back when I'm done.
see if we can tidy these piles up a little bit. Try to make that pile a little bit better. How's that? That's good. That's not good. I think our engine put it that high. We'll let that cool off here for a bit. That's weird. I'll bring you guys back once I've let that cool. Started back up. Let's go on ahead and we'll finish this up, then we'll put it away. Well guys, I have some unfortunate news. I was out there using the 73 and I took a picture with it. Then I brought it back up to the shop, and as I was on my way to the shop, it lost power and it seemed to lose compression. So I did some investigating on it and I spun the engine over and the engine has no compression. And I listened to it and the engine's firing. And it has air blowing out the exhaust, but it's not getting, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not getting any compression. And it is firing, though I do hear it. So I think the head gasket on the 73 has blown. So that might be, I think that's going to be the next project we do on this tractor, is replace that head gasket. That's the first time I've had a head gasket blow on one of these, and it really surprises me. I think that might have been the problem, was that head gasket was just getting ready to blow. It didn't seem like it was losing compression though back there when we were doing that, so I don't know. Like I said, a while. There's the 68. I was looking at it. I thought that was a cool picture. But yeah, that's what we've got going on right now with this. Unfortunately, I think the head gasket has blown. Let me park it, or put it in there, and then I will be back. I had a quick question for you guys. I have this sitting here. It's old, and I think it's gone flat. It's been sitting out here for a while. Has anybody ever tried putting soda in an ultrasonic cleaner to clean carburetors? I was sitting there thinking about it this morning, and I was going to ask you guys to see what you guys think about it. Have you guys ever put soda in an ultrasonic cleaner to clean anything? Because I've heard it cleans pretty well. So let me know what you guys think, and maybe we'll try it. Okay, everybody, so I've decided to go on ahead and make the executive decision. I know I mentioned something about it in a previous video on whether we're going to do an engine swap on this tractor or just leave this engine in it and try to get this motor going. It still needs a seal. I haven't messed with it yet. For those of you wondering on process of these mower decks, they're still here. I replaced the idler pulley on that one, idler pulleys, and also I've sharpened the blades. That one's all ready to go. This one I fixed the pulley right here. I bent the arm up, so now hopefully it shouldn't throw a belt again. I got to sharpen the blades on it. That one is going to be taking parts from that deck and that deck right there. That one I need to finish pulling apart. So that's where I'm at with these for right now. For those of you wondering and wanting some progress on these mower decks, there you go. So I have not decided what engine I'm going to put in here. I would prefer to put this engine in, but I do want to try, for those of you wondering, I put a light up finally. I fixed that one. I want to try and get this engine running right here. This engine and also that motor down there. That one is going to need a head gasket. This one shouldn't need anything. It should be able to go. It should be ready to fire up. So that's where I'm at right now. This engine's still sitting here. Same with that one. Now I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to get into before I start tearing into the 73. Head gasket on the 73 blue. Let me turn the light on. Head gasket blue on the 73, as you guys remember in previously, so we got to fix that. This is actually a few days later. I'm still waiting on that head gasket. I kind of just left the video off and did a few other things. I did some stuff with the 212. Head gasket on the 212 I'm starting to think is going to have to be replaced, and I think it's the reason why we can't get this engine adjusted well and running. I got some lamps. There's one right there. These were given to me. One there, and then these two little lovebirds over here. Little lovebirds. I had an idea on mounting them onto the patio. Since they're white, I think it'd look really cool. Have some lights on there. I thought about it, but I think I know what I'm going to do with them. I might make a video on that. I might not. But the head gasket on here I think is blowing, and I'll show you why. Move this over here. 216 is still doing good. Nothing to report on it. Let me pop the hood and show you. I don't know if you can see it, but down there on the head, on the cylinder jug, there is liquid coming out. It doesn't smoke or anything, but I've got a bad feeling that head gasket might be going out. It does blow like white smoke, which I think white smoke is the cause or a sign that it's blowing the head. One way to tell would be if it's putting pressure into the crankcase and it's blowing oil out, but that's on overhead engines. This is a flathead engine. Overhead valve engines, when the head gasket blows, it tends to leak into the crank, back down into the crank through the valves.
That's one of the major flaws of overhead valve engines, is that spot in the head gasket where it goes back down to the crankcase. Always, for whatever reason, tends to go bad. So they'll start leaking and it'll blow oil everywhere, and that's one sign that you've got a blown head gasket on one of them motors. But this engine, it's really hard to tell. It could be either carburetor or head gasket in my situation, but I think it might be the head gasket. I really couldn't see it, and I know the camera couldn't see it too well. Looking down there at that, where the head gasket is, where I thought it would look like it was leaking. I'd have to pull it out further. This light right here isn't wanting to turn on right now for whatever reason, so that's why I couldn't see in there. But it did look like it had something coming out yesterday, so we may end up having to replace the head gasket on here, we may not. Let's go on ahead, now that I've wasted 5 minutes of your time talking. Let's go on ahead and we'll dive into the 73. I might make this into a separate video, replacing the head gasket. I might not. But let's go on ahead and dive into it. We'll take a look at the cylinder. I really want to see how it is, how it looks. So let me get my tools and we will get into it. I think it is eviction day for the round fender. It's time to get out of here. We're going to bring the 73 in here most likely. We could do it in there, but where's the fun in that? Okay, everybody, let's go ahead and we'll pop these covers off. Let's see. Oh, that was loose before.